Hi guys, welcome back to CodeWorks. Today we're going to get into particle effects, portal doors, and touch scripts that create fire damage when the players touch a certain part. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all my subscribers. Let's dive in. See you at the end. Let's go. All right guys, first we're going to tackle the portal door. First thing you want to do for the portal door, you want to add parts. You want to add a part for the key. When the player touches the key part here, it'll open the portal here. First thing we do, we'll add the portal. I'll show you guys how I add the portal. You have to name it portal. Exactly. You have to name it portal. You want to add a proximity prompt inside that portal, and then you can just change. I changed the action text to say enter portal, but you can change whatever you want to, and I left everything as default. But you can change that to whatever you want to change. Add a server script, and whatever you want. I named it Keystone, but you can name it whatever you want. We're going to open that server script. And in that server script, we're going to get the proximity prompt services. We're going to get the portal. The portal is the parent of the script. And we're going to reference the keystone part in the workspace right here. And then we're going to reference the proximity prompt. The portal is the proximity prompt is the child of the portal. We're going to do a function. I know it's called when prompt, on prompt triggered, but I don't like that. I just change it when prompted. So that's the name of my function, when prompted. The variable will be key open, and then we'll get an attribute in the keystone. We'll name that attribute open. Go to your keystone part, add an attribute, name it whatever you want, but it has to reference the script. So make sure the name you name it here reference in the script. And I named mine open, and then we're going to make it a Boolean. Already did. Then you want to do the same thing in the portal part. Add an attribute, make it a Boolean attribute, name it the same name. You named the keystone attribute. For my case, I named it open. Once we back into the portal script, so once the variable key open reference the keystone part, we're going to get the attribute named open. If key open equals true, that means the portal will be can't collide will be false. And then the color will be blue. And then my material will be neon. And then we have a print statement to say portal open. Then after a 5-second wait, the portal door will go back to transparency 0. Can't collide will be false. Player will not be able to walk through it. And the part color will go back to black. And the material will go back to metal. And then we have a print statement saying portal close. We're going to go back to the keystone. We're going to set the attribute this time. We're going to set it, the open attribute, to false, which means the player can't go use the proximity prompt. And then the material will go back to sandstone, and then the color will go back. Portal part here. Inside, this is just a model part. That's my portal part. What the player actually walk through is here. Proximity prompt. And we got our keystone part here. And we just reference that keystone strip again. You can name it. And then we'll go back and then we'll close it out with the proximity prompt service, prompt trigger, connect. Name of my function here when prompted. Now we go to our keystone part. Here we add a script inside that keystone part, and whatever you want. I named it portal. Maybe I got the names backwards, but I know what each script does. And then right here we already got the attribute name open. So you want the keystone is the parent of the script. The function, once again, I named it when touch. We're gonna have a parameter called touch part that's gonna be parented to the character. Then we're going to have a local humanoid. We're going to use the search function, find first child. So find first child is going to search through the humanoid for a part named humanoid, for instance named humanoid, which all characters have. And then if it's a humanoid, then we're going to set that attribute to open will be true. And that's going to change the material to neon and the color to green. We're going to close it out with the keystone part here, touch, connect, name of my function, when touch. Now we're going to go into this game, and I'll show you guys how that works. Player is going to come up. Maybe not won't be so easy in your game to find it, but you touch it, it'll turn green. Enter portal, and I use the teleport part from my previous scripts to teleport the player to a certain location. You guys can go to my playlist to see how to make teleport parts. And after the short cooldown on the teleport part, we can go back through, teleport back to the portal. See everything, the keystone part's back green, portal's back black, and we cannot enter the portal. That's the key part. Do it again. Okay, so that's how that works. Now we'll dive into the script to show you guys how to get the particle effect that you see on my character when he spawns in. First thing for the particle effect, you want to have your folder in the server storage. Name that folder whatever you want, but for this tutorial, I named it effects. In the effects folder, you want to have your attachments with your particle emitters attached to each attachment. Script will randomly pick an attachment every time player spawns or dies. Particle effect will happen for 30 seconds. And now you go into server script service. Have your server script. I named it Sparkles. And then right here, we can see the server script will reference the player service, get service players. It was reference server stores. That's where we have the effects and our attachments located. Then also the effects folder. It'll do the wait for child search, looking for any folder named effects. And then when they find that folder named effects, they'll use the player added function, character added function. Then they'll do another search for a wait for child search, looking for your root, which is what we call the root. It's the humanoid root part. Once we find that humanoid root part, it's going to look for the attachments in the effects folder, get those children, the attachments, and get the children, which would be the particle emitters, I'm sorry. And then it'll clone that, and then it'll randomly pick each particle emitter. And then we'll go add that to the parent of the root, which is the humanoid root part. We'll do a task wait of 30 seconds, so that particle emitter will stay on the character for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, it'll destroy. All right, we'll go into the game. We'll show you how that works. See, I have one particle here. And if I respawn my character, we'll have another particle emitter should show up on that character, my player. Sorry. See, we have another particle emitter on the player. And then if I die one more time, another one should spawn. Hopefully it doesn't pick the same one, but that can happen. I can find a way so I can make sure that doesn't happen. Of course, it happens, and we'll do one more. So we close out. So randomly picking different ones, but seem not too random, but maybe I could go in and tweak it. But right now, each player will spawn in different. There we go. That's a different particle. Everything will be in the description, the models, so you guys can add it, and then just study the script so you guys learn the scripting as well. All right, now I'll show you guys how to take damage. When you touch this fire part, it'll clone the instance, a fire instance to the player. Player will take 15 damage per 10 seconds. And then once after that, the player will die. Let's go in, let's dive in. I'll show you guys how to do it. First thing you want to do, you want to add your burn parts into a folder. Name it whatever you want. But I named this one bonfire. You want to add each part that you want the player to touch. So basically the bow is the hitbox. If the player touches the bow part here, that's when the script will take effect. The fire instance inside the bow is just for decoration purposes only. We will create a new fire instance through the script when the player touches the bow part here. Now we go down to server script service. We're going to add a server script, name it whatever you want. I named it fire for this tutorial. Now we're going to go in, we're going to reference the burn folder. It's going to do a wait for child search, looking for any folder in the workspace named bonfire. We're going to do a burn duration of 10 seconds, and then we're going to do a burn damage per second at 15 seconds. We're going to have a table named burning players. Inside that table, and inside there will be a function called touch fire. And then we're going to have a parameter called other part. Other part will be the parent of the other part. We'll do another humanoid. Find first child, which is a humanoid search in the characters, or character as a humanoid, then the script will run. If not humanoid, not burning, then burning players humanoid equals true. Then we have, this is where the fire instance will be added to the player. Right here, local fire instance, new fire. We got a fire size 10, fire heat 10. You can change that to whatever you want. Go to fire.color, orange. And then the secondary color we'll do red. We're going to attach to the character. You're going to do this find first child search for the torso. We'll do a find first child search for the upper torso, or find first child search for the humanoid root part. Attached to one of those parts, then fire.parent is attached to torso, upper torso, humanoid root part. All right, we'll just test it out one more time. Quick, short, easy scripts you guys can add to your game that can add some spice, flavor, fun to whatever experience you're making in Roblox. Touch it again. Attach to one of the parts, upper torso, humanoid root part, regular torso. Taking that 15 damage per 10 seconds, and then the player dies from that. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know anything you want me to script. I'm still learning, putting in these basic scripts that you can't add to your games. The code do work. Code doesn't work, let me know and we can fix it. Have a nice day. Have a good weekend. See you on the next one.